Welcome to another edition of Big Impact, where we discuss the topics surrounding diversity, inclusion, and social justice in the Big Ten. Today, we focus on what has motivated our student athletes to spearhead change. And we're going to start with our ladies tonight in terms of introductions. Olivia Jack. She is a swimmer at Penn State University. Myles Johnson is a senior electrical engineering major at Rutgers, and he also plays for the men's basketball team there. And then we have Rayvon Bonner, who is a senior running back at Illinois. And last but certainly not least, Hunter Reynolds. He's a senior cornerback for Michigan football. And I just have to start here. First of all, I want to thank you for joining us. We saw the day in the life of Myles Johnson. We saw that on Twitter, and I know your days are busy, so we appreciate you all taking your time out of your busy student athlete schedules to join us tonight for this most important conversation. We're going to start with our lady for the evening, Olivia Jack, and you're at Penn State. You're a swimmer there. Super busy schedule as a student athlete for sure, but what really motivated you to utilize your voice the way that you have been doing on campus?
Like you said, I don't usually have a lot of time. I have a pretty busy schedule. So in quarantine, as I'm from New York, I was spending a lot of time in my house because I didn't have practice. And so I was just working out by myself and putting my time into things that I'm more interested in. And I wouldn't say necessarily that my motivation was increased at all. These are experiences that I go through every day, that my family goes through every day, and a lot of my friends go through every day. So I guess my motivation would come from the experiences that I've had and the experiences that I've seen my close family members and loved ones have. And honestly, I was just tired of it all and tired of people ignoring the issue or saying that they were interested in it, but not doing anything about it. So I decided that it was time, honestly, for me to do something about it.
And you have a website, and what can people expect when they go to the website Athletes for Equal Justice?
So Athletes for Equal Rights was started in June, early June. A high school athlete and I have been working on it, and there's 3 portions. So the first portion is a list of resources that people can go to, basically just a list of educational resources about any social injustices that pertain to Black people in the United States of America. And that's the group that we've started with, but in the future we plan on expanding to other marginalized communities. The second part that people can find on the website is a list of workouts that are all connected to specific statistics, and each week of workouts has a theme of statistics that go with them. So, for example, there's a week that talks about incarceration rates and the difference between Black men especially and the rest of the population of the US. And so each workout that week is tailored to focusing on a specific statistic that has to do with incarceration rates. And so I'm pretty sure there's 6 weeks up right now. We're both in classes right now, so we've taken a little bit of a step back, but we're organizing something for after the election to keep the workouts going. And then finally, the last portion of the website is it's honestly for Black athletes to just tell their stories, just to have a platform to talk about any experiences that they've gone through without any repercussions whatsoever. I made sure that it was cleared by my school's compliance, because I know the whole name, image, and likeness is an issue, but honestly, it's just a place for people to be able to talk about what they feel they need to get off their chest. So those are the 3 parts of the website.
I love that. That is a tremendous accomplishment. Please keep that going, because we need that avenue for our student athletes. So please keep that going. That is tremendous. We'll go now to Myles Johnson, who is an electrical engineering major at Rutgers. He plays for the men's basketball team. But Myles, your day, we saw the day in the life, and we know how busy that day looks for you, but you have a voice, you have a platform. How has your voice changed the way that you play the game now? Has that changed your leadership? Has that changed your vocal confidence with your basketball team?
Definitely, I do agree that having a voice, especially nowadays with everything that went on, and that's such an important thing. And it definitely does translate onto the court. And I try to be more vocal with my teammates, and especially with the whole passing of, we could wear like statements on our jerseys and stuff. I know I talked to me, Gio, and Ron. We kind of got together and we kind of took a vote on what everybody would want on their jerseys, because it's not just what one person thinks would be good for the team. We kind of wanted it to be a group vote, and everybody wants to stand behind the same message. So I definitely think my vocalization in that sense has definitely gone up, especially with all the problems and stuff. So trying to vocalize that we need change and things, we need to fight for better rules and laws, and going to vote and stuff like that. Being more vocal with that is definitely going to help.
No question about it. And Rayvon Bonner, you are a running back at Illinois, and you play for the football team, but what has this entire summer and the kind of isolation, what has that time done for you in terms of benefiting your voice and allowing your voice to grow and have that confidence, not only as a team leader at Illinois for the football team, but just in society as a whole?
Well, for me, something that I always tell my mother is that I have an obligation to my people, and so no matter what, even if that means go as far as risking my life for my people, this is something that I'm willing to die for, because I mean we've just been struggling for so long, and it's something that I'm used to seeing. I mean, even having some racist coaches in high school, it's just something that was always just very heavy on my heart, and to just see it just blow up in the country's face, for me, I said I have to do something about it. And another thing that really just built my confidence, like you having people like Hunter reach out to me, so I'm like, okay, like it's not just me, like other people are saying like, oh, like we're sick and tired of this, and we're going to do something about it. And so just seeing so many people my age be willing to step in and say, like, forget what everyone else thinks, forget what has happened in the past. It's time for our generation to make a difference. We're at the forefront now, and so whatever this country may look like 50 years from now, 100 years from now, that'll be on us. And so I can't just stand by and just watch mass incarceration. I can't just sit by and watch my mother with 2 master's degrees be denied so many opportunities that I know a white woman wouldn't be denied with those same accolades and such. And so I just took it upon myself to say, no matter what, this is the most important thing. This is more important than football. Like this is just more important than just about anything, because it's so much bigger than me. This will affect my kids one day. This will affect my grandkids one day. And I don't want them to have the same experiences that I have had, that Hunter, Myles, and Olivia has had. I don't want that for my children. I absolutely refuse it. And so I'm just going to keep pushing.
I mean, that's just so incredibly profound. Rayvon, I can't even tell you, I'm the mom of 3 teenagers, a son, a daughter, and another son, 18, 17, and 13. And what you said, that sits at home for me, because my parents marched in the 60s, and I went and marched with my children on Juneteenth with the Wizards and Mystics. And I'm kind of in between the 2 generations, but there's a difference in this generation, and you're right on, you're spot on with doing something about it, and not just being tired of being tired about it, like doing something about it. That's the next step, and that's what you all are doing. And on that same vein, Hunter Reynolds, you are at Michigan, you're a senior this year, a cornerback, but you've also spearheaded the College Athletes Unity Initiative, and the importance of that has been what so far?
I just think the biggest thing was it connected so many people who kind of had similar thoughts, similar to what Rayvon said. A lot of us were thinking the same thing, but we didn't really know that there were people around the country thinking it. And I just felt that, if there was a way for everyone to kind of come together, share their thoughts, brainstorm different ideas. I thought that, you know, it would, one, make our messages just so much more powerful, and then two, it would amplify our platform, because, you know, there are people that are members of CAU that have hundreds of thousands of followers, and, you know, if you combine numerous people that have that large of a following, then, you know, you're just reaching so many more people with your messages, and I think that's powerful.
No doubt about it. And with that reach that you all have, it's not just college athletes, it's not just college student athletes that you're impacting. There are high school teenagers who are watching you, and the momentum from that, what do you want to see as being leaders in that way moving forward? Olivia, we'll address that to you first, but that's for everyone, but we'll go with Olivia first.
Honestly, I've always kind of thought about trying to influence the younger generations, because as the only, if not one of the few swimmers, Black swimmers in my sport, it's kind of a job that I kind of took on when I started with the sport, because there aren't very many people that look like me in my sport. And so being able to influence younger generations, like I see my siblings at home, I'm the oldest of four, and I see my sister who's 14, and she's asking me about what I'm doing in school, and asking me about my day. And when I'm able to tell her that I am working to make a difference for our community, it's humbling for me for her to be interested in it. And at the same time, it's also inspiring, because the fact that people her age are noticing what's going on, I think is really important, because to be oblivious to situations like this at their age, for some parents, they might think that it's easier to shelter kids, but at the same time, I think that being exposed to it is really important, because then you learn ways that you can not only overcome those obstacles that people have put in place, but you can also help influence other people to do the same, and make difference even at that age. Like people can make differences in the community at any age, and I think that just it's been really humbling to be able to see that I'm making that kind of impact.
That's tremendous. Myles, we'll go with you on the same question there.
Oh yeah, kind of just, you know, to go along with Olivia, I think that, you know, having the power to make a change, I think that's kind of the biggest thing for me, because, you know, I mean, we're still kids. I mean, we're growing up, and we want to claim that we're grown and fully independent, but, you know, we're still kids. And just having the power to, you know, use our voices and influence even younger kids, and even hopefully influence some of the older people to agree with us, and, you know, stand for what we stand. And, you know, because we're fighting just like they were fighting, and even though our fight might be a little bit different, as you said earlier, but it's still kind of, we're fighting for the same exact end goal is that, you know, we want equality, and we want, you know, just to be treated the same, and we don't want to have to, you know, fight to over accomplish things just to be seen as the basic accomplishment. So I do agree with that. I think that basically, I think we are the change is kind of the biggest thing I would say.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Rayvon, where do you see your impact in the community with the younger kids who are looking up to you? You have so many people, especially with the impact of social media. You can reach so many people, and so many people in the community who have access to these youngsters. How do you feel that has gone so far for you?
Well, for me, for one, I actually don't have social media. Just with all of the distractions, just everything that just goes on with social media, I just want to remove all those distractions. But the impact that I believe that I'm having on the next generation is setting example to show them, like, you don't have to wait to be a leader. And I think of a verse, 1 Timothy 4:12. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example. And that's something that I carried with me growing up, to say, you know, you're not too young to be a leader, Rayvon. And it's not enough for me to just see that in myself. It's like, no, like I see so many young people with so much potential. this everything that's going on, you see so many people who show their true colors, but not just as a bad thing, but as a good thing as well. Because I've seen so many white people that took me by surprise. I'll admit that's just very adamant about things that Black people go through, and it's like, let's take it a step further between us having this conversation. Let's take it a step further between you just having this conversation with your parents. Let's get out in the community. Let's actually do something. And you know, there are people who went out and to be poll workers and things like that. To say you know, like I took what you said, and I'm actually going to do something about it. Like, I don't want to just sit here and listen to you. I want to do something much bigger than that. And then you see younger siblings, you see all these kids in junior high, even younger, just saying, you know, this generation, we're going to be the generation of change. And so just seeing the young people in my community, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
I love it. And then Hunter, with that being said, you have said that the impact and the momentum and the leverage that student athletes have right now has never been this strong. And that's not just for the student athletes who are playing right now, who are matriculating collegiately as student athletes right now, but the ones who are on the way, right? How have you seen that kind of leverage and momentum empower the generations that are coming behind you?
I just think that with social media and how prevalent it is in our society, I think that you just are able to see a lot more people's opinions. So whether they're positive or negative, you're able to see them now. So when people, you know, have these larger followings, or when people are saying something extremely profound, it kind of goes upon more eyes. So, you know, I remember when Mikey Williams said that he was really considering going to an HBCU, there were a lot of people who started, you know, really looking at HBCUs as like, you know, a potential school of their choice for college, especially like basketball and football. And, you know, just things like that, just those are, you know, young kids still in high school who are kind of changing the way things operate. And I think, you know, people have given athletes sort of a status in society. So I think, you know, whether there is status or there isn't, I think athletes really have the ability to, you know, really change the way that how things operate in our society.
Yeah, it certainly has made a huge difference. And we're going back to Olivia with this one, and this could be for everyone too, because I think it's very important. With social media, you know, you're not going to have everyone in the universe, which you're introducing yourself to when you go on these social media sites, which Rayvon, you said you stepped away from it because of this, but there is a rabbit hole effect of that as well. And there are people who are not going to agree with your stand and your voice and what you have to say, even though you are convicted with it being the right thing. And it is the right thing to do and to say that everyone needs to be on an equal ground when it comes to everything in life, and human rights matter. But Olivia, social media, the good and the bad of that, what have you experienced or seen? And maybe not just personally, but maybe with some of your teammates or just in general, when you do stand forward and make your voice heard. It's a bold move, but you're also going to get it. You're going to get the support, but you're also going to get the negativity that comes along with that as well.
Yeah, I think, especially in the past few months, seeing what my teammates and friends and even family members, how they react to certain posts and the certain posts that they might be sharing, it honestly, as much as social media has kind of been a space for people to like project their ideal life, like project what they look like when they feel their best. Basically, that's what social media is. But I think especially in these few months, it's also shown people's true identities, especially with how they respond to certain posts and certain ideas. So I think especially when it came time to, I guess, speak up around the Ahmaud Arbery case and basically like take a stand for Black friends and reach out to people that people say that they care about. I think that's when people really showed their true colors. And so like the amount of silence that I noticed, especially from a few of my closest friends, was really disappointing to me. And so I think that has been the disappointing side of social media, because I have also kind of tried to take a step back from it with how much that has affected me. But basically seeing some of the people that I would call family either not reach out to me, which I'm not asking people to come ask me like whether or not I'm doing okay. But at the same time, if you care about me, you would do that. They wouldn't reach out to me, or they would not like express any opinion on very important issues. That was very disappointing. And I think the positive side would be the people that are speaking out and using their social media platform as a means of communicating positive ideas and communicating ways that society can do better, especially when they create initiatives that people can get like on top of, that don't necessarily include donating money, but just like spending a few minutes of your day to sign a petition, or to reach out to your family members, or to go to a protest. So that's also been like the positive side of social media.
And then Myles, how have you seen the impact of social media on both sides of it, positive and negative?
Definitely with social media, I think one of the positives is that, you know, on my page, I could promote what I believe in, and I'd be able to say what I think is right. And, you know, it's kind of my freedom of speech, basically, just to say whatever is on my mind. And, you know, if people don't agree with it, then that's them. And they have the nerve to comment on it and think that their comment is going to change the way I feel, then, you know, have at it. But it's my voice, and it's not something that's up for opinion. It's not something that other people can change. It's whatever I put on there. It's what I fully believe in, and I'm fully behind it, and not really going to change my mind about it. So I think that the pro is that it gives people the right to speak. And, you know, with everything, it gets a whole bunch of retweets and likes and favorites and everything. And, you know, your voice can be heard everywhere with social media from across the world, you know, not just in your small little town or just where you are. And also, I think, you know, as Olivia said, the petitions, I think if you look at any like super popular tweet in the past summer, like under it is like a whole bunch of petitions about, you know, Black Lives Matter, or, you know, justice for Breonna, or anything like that. And I think all those petitions, you know, got seen even more just being attached to something that, you know, people are laughing at, or people are spreading around. So I think definitely the positive of it is the fact that it spreads so wide and it get to reach a lot of people. But the cons are that, you know, it's the freedom of speech. So if someone doesn't agree with you, they have the right to just, you know, comment about it and say they don't agree with you, or say some really harsh, hurtful things. But, you know, because people like to hide behind screens and whatnot. But it is what it is. And I think, you know, you take social media for a grain of salt, and you just kind of keep it at that.
And Rayvon, I know you said you're not on social media, and it's probably a good thing. It's probably very refreshing in terms of not being able to fall down that rabbit hole of social media. But how have you seen that impact what has happened over the last several months as gaining momentum, especially your generation? But how have you seen social media be used as that most valuable medium to get the word out that things are changing?
Well, for me, like some positives, like to sign a petition, you put that on social media, and then like in a matter of minutes, you can just have 1,000 people just click on it and sign it. So like when we planned a protest like back home, like one of the boys tweeted about it, and I mean, next thing you know, like it just blew up. Like hundreds of people like just retweeting and stuff like that. And so like there are so many positives to social media, but on the other side, you have those people who say, "Oh, I'll never watch a game again." And, like, I mean, it doesn't really bother me because the game goes on whether one less fan is watching or not. And on top of that, I believe that they're still watching anyway. But it's just like Miles said, like people like want to disagree, and like that's cool. I just don't like when it gets to the point where people are then disrespectful, and then it's like, how do we respond? And it's like we are to be all those civilized people, because the moment where we say something back, oh, they're animals and all these other things, and it's just so crazy, because people will be so loud and say anything behind a computer screen, and most of the time they never say that to our faces, but it's just so, I don't know, I just find it mind-boggling how we can't just sit down and have a civilized conversation here in 2020. I mean, I watched so many interviews with Malcolm X, and how many civilized conversations, peaceful conversations that he's had with white men, and this was in the 50s and 60s, and we can't do that now. I mean, it's just absurd. It's really absurd.
Hey, very true. And it is how you respond. And Miles, I know you understand this, just being a former basketball player, the officials never catch the first elbow, but you better believe they're going to catch the second one. We're running out of time here, but we're going to go to Hunter for this last and final question, and just the hashtag of Big Ten United. Tell me what that means to you and what you want it to continue to mean far after you graduate.
I think it just meant that, we had numerous athletes from the Big Ten all on the same page. We all kind of spoke with each other. We were all in discussion for weeks, maybe even months. And it just showed that, we might be at different schools, we might be competing against each other, but at the end of the day, we're all kind of the same person. Like, we're all, athletes trying to navigate our way through school, through life, through football or basketball, soccer, swimming, track, etc., whatever sport it may be. And I think, too often we just feel like, everything we're going through is contained to our own schools, our own sports, our own even conferences. But I think what Big Ten United showed was that, we're all going through something similar. So, I hope athletes, as they, continue to filter through Big Ten schools, as the younger kids start to, that are in high school right now, start to get to college, I hope they realize that, you don't have to be alone. You're not alone in what you're going through. Other people going through the same things. So, you can always reach out to someone and, really just have that conversation with them, see, how they're doing, see what's going on in their life, and you'll probably be surprised at how similar things are.
Well, I have to say, this has been a tremendous moment for me to hear from you and how dynamic your approach is to what is happening in our society right now. And you are certainly, most certainly, making a big impact. And I really want you to continue to do that. It's imperative for the growth of the awareness of what is going on. And we're just so incredibly proud of you all being a spark to be heard. So for myself, Christy Winters-Scott, for Olivia Jack, Myles Johnson, Rayvon Bonner, and Hunter Reynolds, we appreciate your time out of your busy schedule as a student athlete to join us for this most impactful and important discussion on social justice.